So 2022 was absolutely an interesting year when you talk about gaming showcase presentations, as we did end up seeing many of them, but the big underlying issue for me is that especially during the summertime window that we typically expect a lot of organization from events like E3, this year felt very disconnected, fragmented, and nobody knew what was going on from major companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. And in today's video, I want to break down the brand new outlined schedule for E3 2023 and discuss what companies we may be able to expect at this event right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. And as I mentioned, guys, today we are discussing all things E3 2023, as yes, indeed, we had a full entire cancellation of both the digital as well as in-person event in 2022, and in the year prior in 2021, we had a digital-only E3, and the year before that was, of course, the first year in many years that the event had been canceled at all due to the brand new pandemic at that time in 2020. And there was a lot of talk and speculation online around whether or not E3 may just be a thing of the past and something that will be nostalgic for gamers, that people used to come together in person with all of the major companies a part of this organized event. And I definitely do think there are some fair criticisms that you could point at the organization behind it, like ESA, around the lack of focus and importance and organization with this event. And fortunately, we recently got an announcement that ReedPop would be taking over the conference going forward, and they are responsible for things like Comic-Con, so they know how to actually organize these in-person showcases and kind of make it an enjoyable thing for in-person fans, virtual fans, and the media themselves, as well as just these companies as a whole. And there's some brand new updates that we now know to expect for E3 2023, and to get on the same page with the exact outline schedule that has now been confirmed for E3 2023, let's quickly hop over to VGC and read through their detailed typed up article together. E3 2023 reveals revamped consumer business format and dates. The ReedPop Run 2023 show will feature split business and consumer areas. E3 2023, which will be the show's first in-person event in 4 years, will officially run from Tuesday, June 13th until Friday, June 16th, organizer ReedPop announced on Monday. As announced earlier this year, ReedPop is officially taking over the running of the flagship industry event from the Entertainment Software Association, or ESA. Under the revamped format, the first 2 days of E3 2023, June 13th and 14th, will be reserved exclusively for business. The third day, June 15th, will welcome both business and consumer visitors, while the final day, June 16th, will be dedicated to consumers. One half of the LA Convention Center will be entirely dedicated to business, with quieter, more comfortable booths and areas to network. ReedPop also hopes to reopen the Kentia Hall, a basement area not used for some years for business purposes. The other half of the LACC will be the spectacular E3 that you're used to, and for the first 2 days will also be for business attendees only. In addition, E3 2023 will feature a new dedicated meeting space where attendees can connect using the E3 app and hold meetings. For consumers, ReedPop says the 2023 show will be more accessible for indies and indie publishers to showcase titles in the Concourse Hall. And it's also planning elements outside of the LACC, plus numerous game presentations will run during these days that fans can watch in person or online. So listen, when you read through all of that information and how they have it outlined, that is fantastic, and it's also a very notable thing that we are hearing about this now in September at the time of filming this video, even though this thing is not happening until June 2023. That is the first great sign behind what ReedPop is doing with this event and how seriously they are taking it, as opposed to how we have seen it really become less and less of a priority from the ESA, not even knowing if the digital event was canceled altogether until late into 2022 last year, and they gave us a little bit of a heads up that the in-person event was canceled, but there was tons of speculation on what was even going on with the event or if it would be here anymore at all, just because there was no communication around it. And the fact that we have this detailed outline schedule with, by the way, some of the things that really make sense, having things like business only days as well as consumer focused days, I think that makes a lot of sense, and that should be something that ultimately serves as a win-win for everybody involved. So consumers gamers can come play the games, experience the booths, have all the fun as being at a giant media gaming focused showcase like you'd want to experience, as well as having opportunities if you're an indie developer or a big publisher to network and meet with other business colleagues and partners. It's all good things for the gaming industry at the end of the day, and I personally have a ton of nostalgia for E3 because I grew up looking forward to it every single year like Gamers Christmas, because we knew that that week would always have some of the biggest announcements of the entire year. And I do think that the competition between major companies like Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony was once a part of it. They have not been a part of it in recent years. Whether or not that changes this year will remain to be seen, because if we're talking about all three mega brands on stage and doing live in-person presentations, in addition to things like the Nintendo Direct that I'm sure we will see stay digital, because I would be shocked if Nintendo goes to a in-person presentation format again. But regardless of how each brand does their presentation, something about them all being attached and tied to the same show name, I think creates a healthy competition for them essentially wanting to quote unquote steal the show with massive announcements and bombshell surprises that we wouldn't have known to expect. And everybody's talking about Nintendo at the event, or Sony at the event, or Microsoft at the event. And I think that that ultimately leads to more wins for gamers at the end of the day. Now, one thing we do not have confirmed is a company list of who will actually be participating. So at this point in time, we don't know for sure that Nintendo will be there. We don't know for sure that Microsoft will be there, or that Sony would make a big return to this event. But what you do know is that organization like this and it getting mainstream news coverage and having a big event just being back in full force is what would potentially draw these companies back in. And I think that Nintendo and Microsoft are likely culprits that will for sure be there. And I think Sony's more of the wild card one personally, just because they've been away longer than any of the others. And I also am a believer that we probably would have seen a Nintendo 2022 E3 Direct, a traditional mainline general direct, if that event was going on. They probably would have picked and choose some different third-party titles, maybe included Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and a Zelda Tears of the Kingdom section of that, and actually made that a focal point for the summer. I definitely think that Nintendo not communicating anything and coming out with the partner showcase towards the end of June kind of showed that they feel some level of pressure or commitment to the ESA and to E3 when the event is going on, and when it's not happening, they just kind of do their own thing. So I think as a Nintendo fan, and if you're a Switch user keeping up with Switch news and games, you should definitely be excited about this event being back and confirmed for 2023, because we may now know the date of the June 2023 E3 Direct, which would likely either be June 13th or 14th. And in case you're not looking at a calendar, that does fall on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, otherwise known as traditional days that Nintendo would air something like their Direct. And I definitely think that this is likely one of those 2 days is likely when Nintendo will show up. And it is just exciting to have some kind of peek behind the curtain of what to expect for next year, and have E3 back in a full in-person format, as well as supporting consumers showing up and focusing on the business side of things and vendors. I personally think this is great news for gamers across the board, and we win out at the end of the day when industry showcases like this take place. Yes, you can make the argument that shows like this aren't really needed in the modern day, with all of these companies having direct to consumer communication through things like Twitter, Facebook, and just other social media online, YouTube directly of course as well. But I don't think it is just the nostalgia for this event talking in me. I actually think there is true value to be had for in-person celebrations for gamers to be able to attend if they'd like, or participate virtually online if you can't make it there in person. So I am all for this news. I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, all your personal thoughts about E3 returning in 2023 with an exact schedule and release date outline for what we can expect. Which companies do you indeed think we will see show up at this showcase? Do you think Sony finally makes their return to this event, as they've been absent for many years at this point? You think, like I do, and Microsoft and Nintendo are the two most likely culprits that will come back, and that Sony's kind of the wild card? Or do you think that even though the outline schedule and ReedPop is running everything this year and it all sounds great, that maybe these companies don't realign and we have more of the Jeff Keighley Summer Games Fest style lineup of big publishers and game studios joining the event, but not the blowout huge names in the industry like the big three gaming giants, and that the traditional heyday of E3 is indeed a thing of the past. So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next, which is on screen right now. now. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.